how the leading coefficient affects the shape of a parabola. This is, remember, a parabola is the graph of a function or the equation y equals ax squared plus bx plus c, or if we would have it in function notation, it'd be f of x equals ax squared plus bx plus c. Now, we're all looking at, with these problems, we are looking specifically at that first coefficient, which is the coefficient of the highest degree. So it is the a part of our equations. These questions will either give you an equation or they will give you the graph. What we know is the a, I'll do it as a smaller case letter because it's supposed to be, if I can erase. So the a, we do know that if a is big, the graph is pointier. Or narrower. As a gets close to 0, it will get wider. And if a is positive, it'll be a smile. If a is negative, it is a frown. All right, so when we're looking at this, so looking at the choices we have for each coefficient shows whether it's positive or negative. So a is positive. It's a drop down, but I don't get a drop down when I copy the pictures. B is also a smile, so that is a positive. C is a frown, so that is negative. D is a frown, and that is negative as well. All right, so choose the coefficient closest to 0. So this means when I want the closest to 0, this means widest graph. And if I'm looking at them, the widest one is going to be that D. So I would choose this one. The coefficient with the least value, so this is going to be the most negative. Okay, least value is going to be the most negative, so I'm looking for the frown that's narrow. Okay, so the narrower frown will be C. Now, with the questions, you could have all of them be the same graph if you were talking, but not always. So we're just identifying the stuff. Like I said, it's the same information. Sometimes they'll give us the graph. Sometimes they'll give us the equation and tell us to tell what the graph is going to look like. So same rules apply. So if we have a positive, this is going to be upward is positive. So this is up. This one's negative, so it'll be downward. This is negative, so it'll be downward. And this one's also negative, so it'll be downward. Okay, close with the, choose the parabola with the narrowest graph. This I want closest to the narrowest. I want the biggest, so furthest from 0. Okay, so it could be a number that's far from 0, in negative or positive, looking at that. So what I'm looking at for my biggest numbers, I'm thinking absolute value or how far they are from 0. That would be the -4. So this will be my graph that is the narrowest, the pointiest. Choose the graph with the widest. This is, I want the number closest to 0. Meaning I'm going to want the absolute value of that coefficient to be as small as possible, so the smallest fraction. If I'm looking at the fractions, I have a half and 2/3. 2/3 is actually, it's a negative 2/3, but thinking the absolute value. So 2/3 is actually further away than 1/2 would be. So this would be my widest graph.